There have been some pretty massive winter storms hitting Texas, leading to a lot of, I think, millions actually of people being without power there, and just some really extremely low temperatures for the reason, or for the region, I should say. And then you have Republican governor of Texas, I believe it's Greg Abbott, right? Greg Abbott, going on Hannity and blaming sustainable energy for that happening, even though Texas think only gets maybe 10% of their energy for that. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's people having to fucking warm themselves by using a barbecue. I saw a thing, somebody was like making a fire inside their house to stay warm. And then you have the fucking whack job Republican governor of Texas, like, no, it's the Green New Deal, it's those eco socialists, it's the wind and the solar and the thermal. That's the problem. Even though we got 90% of our energy from fossil fuels, it's not that huge vast majority. It's this very small part. That's why the millions don't have power. I mean, Jesus Christ. This is from Common Dreams. I'll link below. As millions of Texans struggle desperately to keep warm amid power outages stemming from the devastating winter storm sweeping the nation, the state's Republican governor late Tuesday blamed solar and wind for the blackouts, despite the fact that Texas relies overwhelmingly on fossil fuels, and claimed the crisis shows that the Green New Deal would be a deadly deal. I mean, goddamn, what kind of fucking conservative Kool-Aid you got to be poisoned with to fucking believe this just complete bullshit? I mean, goddamn. Texas is blessed with multitude sources of energy, such as natural gas, oil, and nuclear, as well as solar and wind. I mean, and again, this makes no fucking sense. Uh, Places like Texas and elsewhere keep doubling down on these fossil fuels, which are obviously a huge cause of climate change, of such extreme weather events like we're seeing right now in Texas. These things are going to keep getting more extreme and more frequent. And obviously, if we want to lessen that impact as much as possible, because we've already put so much pollution, into the air, we obviously need to drastically reduce and quickly shift to renewable forms of energy like solar and wind, geothermal, etc. Our wind and solar got shut down. They're collectively more than 10% of our power grid, and that thrust Texas in a situation where it's lacking power on a statewide basis. I don't know if that's necessarily his accent. We'll see in this clip. And not to besmirch anybody from Texas, my partners from Texas. So, like, how does that even make sense? Like, okay, that's 10%. What about the other 90%, you fucking nut job, that comes from fossil fuels, which again are a huge leading cause of climate change, of these extreme weather events like we're seeing right now in Texas, where there's millions of people without fucking power. And again, these type of issues always impact the most vulnerable and marginalized communities and groups among us. Communities of color, obviously, poor communities, the elderly, people with disabilities, etc. Abbott was far from the first Republican to deploy such blatantly false talking points in response to the ongoing crisis in Texas, which has left at least 10 people dead. But the governor's decision to appear on Fox News and attack a policy has not even been implemented, as Texas resorted to burning their belongings to keep their children warm, is viewed as yet another example of failed leadership. And again, this was the same fucking whack job that was saying, we gotta keep the economy open. It's okay, grandma, we can sacrifice you at the altar of the all glorious economy. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, economy. Now grandma's going to heaven. She died of the coronavirus, but she's in heaven now, looking down upon us and this great economy. This is the kind of fucking shit this nut job espouts. It's fucking nuts. 5 million Texans are without power tonight, and temperatures are below freezing. People most certainly die tonight because of it, said Sawyer Hackett, senior advisor to Julian Castro. But Governor Abbott had time to go on Sean Hannity to blame the Green New Deal. Okay, let's check out this clip.
Gas, oil, old-fashioned oil, and coal. I'm not against nuclear energy either. I'm not against wind turbines.
Fuck, nuclear is complete dog shit, dog. Come on, you serious? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
But my question is, if they have these rolling blackouts and you got freezing weather, I mean, and they're not reliable and it's use it or lose it, what good is it?
So this shows how the Green New Deal would be a deadly deal for the United States of America. Texas is blessed with multiple sources of energy, such as natural gas and oil.
Yeah, what you're all using right now, you fucking nutter, and you got 5 million people without power, so that ain't working out too well, isn't it, Greg Abbott?
And nuclear as well.
Or like Greg Shitbag or something, I don't know.
As solar and wind. But you saw from what Trace said, and that is our wind and our solar got shut down, and they were...
I'm just a regular working class guy. I got this little coat on. I got a cowboy hat. I don't know. I can't see what that book says. I got some weird trophies here. I got some books. I'm just a regular person. Don't support the Green New Deal. That's communism. That's bad.
Collectively, more than 10% of our power grid, and that thrust...
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense. How would having 10% of your energy coming from renewable sources cause 5 million people in your state to go without fucking power? Doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense, does it?
Texas into a situation where it was lacking power in a statewide basis. That was power that was spread out by that ERCOT organization that you were talking about. As a result, it just shows that fossil fuel is necessary for the state of Texas as well as...
Again, he's just completely deflecting and not taking any type of responsibility. I thought conservatives were all about personal responsibility and, you know, owning shit when they fuck up. And he's not doing that. He's totally fucking deflecting and completely lying and is putting out ridiculous propaganda. Citing an official of the state's Electricity Reliability Council, ERCOT, which we heard Abbott talk about, the Texas Tribune reported that as of Tuesday afternoon, 16 gigawatts of renewable energy generation, mostly wind generation, was offline. Nearly double that, 30 gigawatts have been lost from thermal sources, which included gas, coal, and nuclear energy. So look, okay, 30 gigawatts, including thermal, gas, coal, and nuclear energy. So it seemed like obviously a lot bigger percentage of their power is coming from these dirty fossil fuels. Texas is a gas state, Mike Weber, an energy resource professor at the University of Texas, Austin, told the Tribune. Gas is failing in the most spectacular fashion right now. But that hasn't stopped Republicans like Abbott and Rep. Crenshaw, also a fucking nut job, from attempting to blame frozen wind turbines for outages that could continue for days, endangering lives and coronavirus vaccines. In response to Abbott's Hannity interview, Texas voting rights advocate Charlie Boner, we'll say Boner because it's cooler, tweeted, "He's lying. People are dying and he's on Fox News lying to you. We are living in fear and Greg Abbott is playing politics with our lives. Greg Abbott doesn't care if you live or die tonight. So take care of each other, my friends," Boner said. "We're living in a failed state." Indeed. Castro sent a similar message Tuesday afternoon, writing that Governor Abbott failed to prepare for the storm, was too slow to respond, and now blames everyone but himself for this mess. Yes, completely again. Thought the Republicans and conservatives were all about personal responsibility, people owning up for their actions and their failures. He's not doing that. He's trying to blame anybody and everybody except himself, even though he's the governor, the supposed leader of the state, right? He neglected the state's antiquated and deregulated electrical grid, said Castro. Now 4.4 million Texans have no power in freezing conditions. In an interview on ABC 13 in Houston earlier Tuesday, Abbott said that officials at ERCOT, the agency that oversees Texas power grid, should resign over the failure to be sufficiently transparent with the people of Texas during the storm's aftermath. He's doing exactly the same fucking thing. But Abhi Rahman Communications director for Texas Democrats said Abbott is the one who should step aside. Abbott is the leader of the state, said Rahman. Apologize if I butchered their name. He gets briefed on emergencies. He should be the one that resigns. Completely agree. I mean, Jesus, you're blaming. It's so farcical. It's almost so ridiculous that it doesn't warrant a comment, because, like, again, what type of Fox News conservative Kool-Aid do you have to be drinking to believe this kind of shit that comes out of politicians like Greg Abbott's mouth? But again, Democrats aren't much better, like fucking Joe Biden, for instance. But that's a topic for another day. Like the video if you like the damn video. Comment down below if you got something to share. Subscribe for more content. All power to the people. Peace. Much love.